Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Rotary. Is that better? Okay. All right, well, welcome to Rotary. Good afternoon. Glad to see everybody here. A couple things, just real quick. If anybody likes this vest here, this is part of our new public image campaign here. So if anybody wants one of these, you can go talk to either Kathy Davis or Sabrina Ward. They're somewhere around here. Can help you order something like this if you'd like that.
That's price.
I think this was $55 with the embroidery that says Waco Rotary Club. Okay, so we are going to get started with our singing later and get started.
All right, it's all right. Let's sing the flag. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare on bursting air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Dana Bravo will be giving our invocation.
Let us pray. The gift of Rotary is evident in this room. Friends all about us with special gifts to share. We ask for you to be with each and every one of us as we move about our daily lives, always keeping in mind the special talents that we have. Let us be fair and kind to those in our paths today. Let us focus on the objects of Rotary and implement these with your help. Amen. You guys can be seated. I'm going to introduce the guests. It's great to see everybody. I hope you're gearing up for a festive Thanksgiving. And so now I'd like to introduce the guests. When I call your name, if you could stand up so that we could recognize you. Jimmy Schwartz, guest of Tyler Martin. Damon Brown, guest of Curtis Brown. We got one. Carla Sessions, guest of Inez Russell. Susan Kelly, guest of Diane Sawyer. M. Brown, guest of Curtis Brown. Bradley Ford, guest of Jacob Bell. And Aaron Braunstein, guest of Russell Lissing. Welcome to Rotary.
Okay, now we're going to introduce several new members. We had a recent new member orientation about a week ago. It went very well. We had 14 new members, so this is really a nice thing for our club.
Thank you, President Russell. It's my pleasure to welcome to Waco and to Waco Rotary, Lou Aaron. Lou came up here this summer and he's having a home built in Badger Ranch. And he and his wife are ready to settle in, and that's good. Lou is from Michigan originally. He went to Michigan State, got an engineering degree, then went in the Army, was an appropriators lieutenant. Then he went to Houston, and and he was there for over 30 years. And he's a managing director of McKinley Aaron International that conducts executive search for requesting organizations and companies. He is a member of the Houston Rotary Club for around 30 years, a little over 30 years, I guess. And his full resume is online. It's very interesting. He's an interesting guy. Lou has two sons. Probably one of the reasons he's up here. They both went to Baylor, outstanding individuals. They're Baylor graduates and they live in the Houston area. And Lou is a superb tennis player and golfer. So if you like any of that kind of stuff, grab a hold of Lou. His wife is Liz, and she is a former school teacher and principal of a school in Houston, and they are a member of the St. Albans Episcopal Church now in Waco. Welcome, Luke, to our club.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate the hospitality and pleased to be here.
All right, so it's my pleasure to introduce two additional Rotarians, Mike and Jan Braden, if y'all will stand up. So Mike and Jan are here to dispel the rumor that all the Californians moving to Texas are ruining it for us. They're great people, and I'll just say a little bit about both of them. Both born and raised in California. Both went to college in California. Jan went to Cal Poly Tech, and Mike went to Cypress College. Mike had his own business in California, HVAC, sold that and moved to Waco. Janet has done a variety of different jobs throughout the years. Most importantly, raising children and volunteering and doing every service project you can imagine for our children and our children's school. She won every award possible from the school district. Janet also got a big, worked in fundraising, so we might be able to use some of that for the club. Fundraising for the schools over the years. Mike and Jan, as far as hobbies go, Jan volunteers and is involved in the Women's Republic here in town. Mike likes woodworking and spoiling his grandkids and camping and hunting and fishing and that sort of thing. So if you guys are welcome to Rotary, we're glad to have you.
All right, fellow Rotarians, it's my honor to introduce Lisa Blackman. Lisa, you want to stand up? She's the newest member of the City of Waco City Manager's Office, serving as an assistant city manager, focusing on areas of quality of life and tourism. Lisa, her husband Mike, and the two boys Dane and Aiden moved to the China Spring area in June of this year. Lisa is a native of Napa, California, and began her career in the hospitality industry, holding management positions in the prestigious winery and restaurant industry. After serving over 15 years in tourism, she pivoted her focus to local government. Blackman served at the city of Napa, California for 5 years as deputy city clerk before serving since June 2016 as a legislative services director and city clerk, assistant city manager, and acting city manager for the city of Manteca, California. Lisa holds a bachelor's degree in business management and a master's in business administration. She also is a certified municipal clerk, and Lisa values community engagement and has held board seats throughout her tenure in Manteca with Manteca Rotary, Manteca Chamber of Commerce, and the Hope Family Shelter. She served on numerous boards and committees, and in her spare time, Lisa and her family enjoy traveling, camping, youth sports, and a whole lot of baseball. So welcome to Waco Rotary.
Okay, now Johnette McCallum is going to introduce our student guest today.
Thank you so much. I can stand up here. These are two of our extraordinarily talented students. Chris, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them and let them tell you some more. Chris Mobley and Nancy Vidmar serve as our very first student liaisons to the Board of Trustees. And I will tell you, they're going to be a hard act to follow. They're involved in everything. You would probably see them, one in English and one in Spanish, talking about how important it is to get vaccinated. to our campus, so that's kind of neat. But Chris is also Honors College, and he's involved in a lot of things. He's involved in the Antioch Church. Both of them are adopted presidential scholars. And then I'll tell you a little bit about Nancy, then I'll let them tell you more and also what they're going to do. And Nancy is also in the Men of Color program, and she's in the Hispanic Student Association. And both of them are involved in our success initiatives in a peer way. So I'm going to let them tell you more about themselves and what they're going to do.
Thank you very much, Dr. McDowell. I also serve on the new student government for MCC. Me and Nancy have restarted it with a completely unique form of student government that we don't find really anywhere in Texas. I also work as a supplemental instructor for Calculus 1 and 2. Very involved in the classroom in that way. And Nancy and I also serve on several committees. I think the Bookstore Advisory Committee, we serve with the Board of Trustees, and we also serve on the Quality Enhancement Program Committee. So that's just a little bit more about us. Also, I plan on going to either A&M or Rice University to pursue a chemical engineering degree. And then from there, I hope to also get a supply chain management degree and hopefully start my own business and then get a doctorate and probably go back into education. So that's a little bit about me. I will give it over to Nancy.
Thank you so much, Chris. So, hello everyone, it's nice to meet you. So as Chris mentioned, we are involved in student government. We're actually the consuls, and it revolves around the consular system. And besides that, like Dr. McCown mentioned, I'm in the Men of Color Success Initiative and in the Hispanic Student Association. And also what I do at MCC, I'm also a student worker in the Department of Student Life, and I have really two great bosses. Their name is Elko Ramos and Joe Igunosa. So besides that, my plans revolve around attaining a bachelor's degree in biology and hopefully going to medical school to pursue a career in electrophysiology as an electrophysiologist or a cardiac EP. So besides that, some near future plans would be I'm really excited to go to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving. So I'm really excited to share a little bit about myself with you. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. All right, now we're going to introduce Ryan Waltz, our chairman.
All right, fellow Rotarians, our guest speaker really doesn't need an introduction. He's Waco famous, but I'm going to do my best to introduce him anyway. Mayor Meek is a graduate of Baylor University and law school. He served on Waco City Council since 2015, representing District 4, including parts of downtown and central Waco. He was elected mayor in November of 2020. He's also given his time to numerous community boards and organizations. His service on the council has seen some challenging times in our country and community. He and his fellow council members have led with grace through the winter storm, the COVID pandemic, and some high-profile projects in Waco. Mayor Meek has commented that serving on council is taught him the value of listening and fostering strong relationships. He credits our community's strength every chance he gets, in addition to how Waco is a community that works together like none other. When Dillon isn't out representing the city, the true joy of his life is his family, wife Lindsay, and children Mabry and Davis. You will seldom meet somebody whose passion for the city of Waco is significant as is Mayor Dillon Meeks. And with that, I will turn the podium over to Mayor Dillon Meek.
Hey guys, how are we? We doing okay? I'll make sure this guy's turned on. We are. Hey, it is a joy to be with you all today. If you saw the, can y'all hear me okay? Sound okay? If you saw the State of the City address, then spoiler alert, this is going to be similar to that. So you can exit now. That's an excuse you can use if you want to leave it. But this is Rotary, so we're going to be a little more casual. I'm wearing a sweater, not a tie today. So we'll hopefully have some time for some questions at the end. I was telling a couple people before the presentation, we'll see how it goes when you kind of wing it a little bit, and that's how this is going to be. But I'm thrilled to be here with the Rotary Club. Civic organizations are so important to our community. So thank you for your service to our town and all that you do. It's so meaningful to Waco. I got to start by acknowledging our great city staff that's here, and a lot of them are members. So I'm really thrilled that they're involved in the organization. I want to start with Jennifer Ritchie, our city attorney. We are so blessed. I just want to pause for a second and say how blessed we are to have her serving our city in that role. I'll tell you, she operates that office with so much heart for the city. And it is such an honor to get to work with her on big projects that are meaningful and matter. And she cares for the city in a way that's so real. Sometimes city attorneys get a bad rap for being the holdup in City Hall and different things. And she has implemented processes and systems to where that is not the case. So if you hear that from someone in the community, know that that's not true, because we have literal systems that we can check to show that she's developed. They keep our deal flow moving efficiently, but more than that, it's just someone who's got an incredible legal mind and does really good work for the city. So I'm really glad she's a member of this organization. You already got to hear from Ryan, former Chief Ryan Holt, who's also our ACM now, as well as Lisa. You heard her bio. We are so thrilled that she's serving as assistant city managers. I saw Chief Summers and Chief Victorian here today. We are so blessed to have them. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the public safety work that we've been doing, but with them in charge, we are in good hands in this community. And then last but not least, I think from city staff perspective here as a guest today, we have our city manager, Bradley Ford. It is such an honor to get to serve with someone who has brought innovation and energy to City Hall, who works so hard to improve the quality of life in this community. And I wouldn't want to be in this role in a million years if we didn't have the strong, competent city staff that we have. But because we do, it is so fun to get to do hard, meaningful work with them. So much thanks to the city leadership and city staff that's here today. You make what I get to do a real joy. We have a really great city council as well. I don't see any of them here today, but we really do have a dream team that has an ambitious set of priorities and that is doing a lot of good work in the community, and I'm really thankful for them. Thankful to be here with Rotary. I'm telling you guys, it is a great time for me to get to serve in the role that I am. It feels like for such a time as this moment. I think we really have an unprecedented opportunity to grow our economy and to improve quality of life as Waco. And it seems like there's kind of a new energy for a new day in Waco right now. And it's not lost on me for one second that is because of good leaders who have come before me, who have laid the strong foundation in this community that we're seeing right now. But with the strong Texas economy, our geographic location, and a couple of other factors that we'll talk today, I'm telling you what, it is a really unique time, I believe, for Waco. I think that the strategy and proactivity of former leaders as well as our current team contributes to this opportunity. And I want to say everyone in this room is on the team. Building up a city is a team sport, and you are on this team. So as we go through this presentation today, I hope that Rotary as a club continues to think through and sharpen your pencil on what your role is in improving our city. And individually, consider this an invitation to jump in and participate. I believe right now the world is watching Waco. Look, you can't make this up. I'm going to read some stats. We have more visitors at the Silos than the Alamo. We've been ranked the #1 tourist destination in Texas. In August of this year, the Wall Street Journal ranked Waco as the 7th fastest emerging housing market in the country, first in the state. We have a national championship basketball program, a top 10 football program, and a couple weeks ago, the Dallas Morning News interviewed Coach Aranda about whether or not he'd be interested in entertaining another coaching job. And he said that he plans to stay here, quote, because of what this place stands for, the people that are here, the hearts of the people that are here. And I think that sums it up perfectly. Waco was the first metro area economy in Texas to reach full recovery post-COVID-19, 15th in the country. Like, that's set in. In between 2020 and 2021, we've announced over 4 million square feet in new development coming to the community, including organizations like SpaceX that are literally launching rockets into space. So I'm wondering, why are we catapulted into this kind of national space? Why is the world watching Waco? And in thinking about it and contemplating it, lights on a hill aren't trying to be seen, they're just lights. And so when I think about why is people watching Waco, we're not trying to be watched. People are just looking this direction, and I'm convinced it's because of the values of the people of this community. Values of goodness and integrity and grit and resilience, who are always wanting to innovate and progress forward. And it is with that spirit and that culture that we've been able to achieve so much and see an incredible opportunity in front of us. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that today. This is, if you look on we got some screens here, this is a picture of my family. I am so blessed by them. This is my wife, Lindsay, my girl, Mabry, who's turning 5 and won't let anybody forget it in a couple weeks. And my son, Davis, who's 3. They are the light of my lives. So much joy, so much laughter, and tornadoes in my house. Just craziness, but so much fun. And feel so blessed by them, really thankful for them. I'm going to look back on a couple of things this year. Ryan hit this. We've had some challenges this year with some disaster recovery has been a big theme looking back. COVID-19 was an incredible challenge that we're all very familiar with. I want to commend our health department who stood up really first-class vaccination clinics, and in the peak of those moments, it was incredibly challenging to make sure that with the demand, it could be met with excellence. And I think that Waco did as well as any other community did in distributing vaccines equitably throughout their community, and we're still working to do that now. I want to thank our first responders. We have a new health district director, LaShawna Mallory Horn, and our deputy city manager, Deidre Emerson, who really worked so diligently and hard in response to the COVID crisis. I want to thank doctors, nurses, healthcare providers for all of the work that they did during the COVID, throughout this pandemic, and continue to do. It's not lost on me, and we're very grateful for their service. The Delta variant was hard on this community. At its peak, we had over 200 people hospitalized with COVID-19, and our hospital systems are not made to absorb a surge like that. But I'm happy to report we're down to about 15, their 7-day average, rolling 7-day average is about 15 people hospitalized with COVID. So we're not out of the woods, but we're certainly in a better place. And I can't be more thankful for our health department and our healthcare community for their hard work on that. COVIDwaco.com continues to be a place where you can see all information and transparent data on COVID in Waco. And we do have a regional infusion center that has multiple partners that I'm hopeful will continue to keep hospitalization rates down. The next disaster that we overcame as a city, something I think is one of the city of Waco's finest moments actually, was its response to the winter storm that was incredibly challenging. 9 straight days of record daily lows and 205 hours of sub-freezing temperatures broke a nearly 40-year-old record. And it was, as we all remember, really difficult on the community, but our city staff jumped up, rose to the occasion, and worked their tails off. Clearing and sanding roads, maintaining and repairing water utility systems, opening warming centers, distributing bottled water, securing our facilities, and keeping animals at the shelter and Cameron Park Zoo safe. I want to thank Highland Baptist Church and St. Albans Episcopal Church for opening up warming centers, thank Coca-Cola distribution for giving us water so that we could distribute to the community, and really I want to thank every Wacoan, because it is a moment where Waco does what Waco does, and that's love your neighbor well. And that's exactly what Waco did throughout that moment. Neighbors helping neighbors in an unprecedented week that I hope we never see again. I think that we fared better than most cities for a lot of reasons, but I want to give a couple recognitions. I think 3 people in this room right now, Bradley, Jennifer, and Larry, who recently retired, and we miss, were literally sleeping in City Hall for days because of the need to ensure that we were operating our city well and communicating to our constituency well. And our city teams were, as I mentioned, working around the clock. I want to note something. Some cities lost water. So if a fire broke out, people just watched their homes burn to the ground with no fire response. If you lost water altogether, or if you even had a boil water notice and didn't have power and had an electric stove, you can't get to a grocery store. And if you could, there's no water there. So when we were working so diligently to preserve clean, drinkable water to our community, it was for a meaningful reason. And I couldn't thank not only our city utility department, who was finding leaks and finding creative ways to ensure that our water capacity was healthy, but the citizens in this room who waited to do a load of laundry, which if you're my wife or Jennifer Ritchie, that's miserable. But we all came together to hold it off and conserve water in a really diligent way. And I'm really, really thankful for everyone's response. As I mentioned, I think it's one of Waco's finest moments. But moving on to some more positive stuff, man, it's been a great year for a lot of good reasons too. Our Baylor basketball team won a national championship. What an honor. That team I think embodies the culture of Waco so well. Joyful, excellent, filled with integrity, and they won. We kind of picked up a theme that Waco's a city of champions. I don't think that just applies to national NCAA champions. I think it applies to all of us, but they embodied it well, and we had a lot of fun. There's a video from a bet that me and the Spokane mayor had, and she ended up having to fly a Baylor flag above their city hall, so that was pretty fun. MCC had a big year too, winning the NJCAA World Champions. Really proud of them. We're able to celebrate and honor them with an event in the backyard as well, just carrying on our theme that Waco's a city of champions. We had a really fun event, or series of events in downtown Waco. We branded it Summer Downtown, and it was a thoughtful wayfinding way to really make sure that people could find their way around downtown Waco with some strategy. And we ended up carving out this place called the 7th Street Plaza, and it's just kind of it's a street, but it feels like an alley almost, and ended up activating it. And I think utilizing creativity to activate spaces in downtown is really fun, and it ended up being a great space for a lot of events in downtown. So really fun space this summer. We have a new budget out, and I encourage you, it's very long, and so if you can't sleep at night, then I encourage you to read the end of it. But if you want to, I'd encourage everybody in the room to get online and read the first couple pages. There's some really great summary of that budget in there, and I want to highlight a couple things. One is we had our first tax rate cut since 2014. I'm really proud that we have as ambitious of a budget as we do, but we're able to do a tax rate cut. And I also want to note that we're going to be continuing to have discussions on American Rescue Plan Act. We have about $34 million coming to the city from the federal government, 15 of which we plan to go to infrastructure and some resiliency projects. And about 17 million of that are going to be allocated otherwise. And I see a large chunk of that being allocated to housing-related issues in the community. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Capital improvements and infrastructure continue to be a priority for the city. We have $118 million of capital improvements allocated this year alone. It's not lost on us that to have a healthy economy and a strong quality of life, we've got to invest in infrastructure. And we're doing that in streets, we're doing that in parks, we're doing that in water and wastewater infrastructure right now. And we're really wearing our 100-year goggles as we plan out the future of Waco. So again, this is a tip of the hat to the experts at City Hall, the city staff members who really have a good understanding of where we need to go on infrastructure. So you can rest easy knowing that we're building Waco for the future. And I'm really proud of the projects that we have coming. You can learn more of that at buildingwaco.com. This is going to be a really fun project, I think. This is Fire Station number 6. It's at the old 25th Street Theater. Getting the right place for a fire station is really important. Chief Summers is here. We have an ISO 1 rating for our fire department. That means it's the highest honor that a fire department can get. It results in a reduction in the amount of insurance homeowners in the city of Waco have to pay. And it's because of an excellent program, but part of that has to do with placing fire departments in the right spaces. Well, this is in the right place, but it's also really cool because it honors the historic legacy of a local landmark, the 25th Street Theater, and it also is bringing our fire administration office to this part of the city, and we're also going to have a community meeting there, kind of the convergence of 3 neighborhood associations. It's really a neat project. I'm excited about it. We can expect groundbreaking on that at the beginning of not groundbreaking, ribbon cutting at the beginning of next year. I-35 update. I think we're a little less than a year to go. I think we're all ready for that. It's right out our window. Beautiful view behind us all, by the way. But we are a little less than a year to go on I-35. I know we're all ready for that to be in the rearview mirror, pun intended. And the next project that TxDOT and the city are working closely together on is the mall-to-mall project from the Richland Mall to Central Texas Marketplace. As always, we will work closely with them to make sure that we communicate about that construction project and when construction begins, how Wakeans can best avoid traffic concerns with that project. Economic development is the next subject. It's been a record-breaking year. 1,500 new, well-paying jobs coming to our economy. I want that to sink in for a second. When we're talking about issues of financial security, 1,500 jobs that pay good wages with benefits coming into this economy is really meaningful, and I'm excited about that. We have over $500 million announced of new industrial investment. I gotta give a shout out to a lot of community partners on this. Our Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce, Central Texas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and Central Texas African American Chamber of Commerce, McLennan County, who's an incredible partner in economic development, the Waco McLennan County Economic Development Corporation, Waco Industrial Foundation, Startup Waco, and Prosper Waco. I see Susie Painter-March here today. All play unique and different roles in building out our economy in a way that works for everybody. And I'm very thankful for the stats that we have this year. I think that we really have an unprecedented opportunity to grow our economy in a way that works for everybody, to grow and allow people that have traditionally been unable to find financial security to find it with the jobs that we brought here. It's not lost on me that the 2 greatest needs in Waco right now are housing and workforce, or said differently, a workforce shortage potential. And that is something that we're working very diligently on. I'm going to talk about housing again in a minute, but on the workforce issue, it's something that all of those partners I just listed are at the table discussing. We're going to work with Waco Transit to make sure people get to those jobs. We partnered with Prosper Waco on a collective impact program called Upskill Waco that offers technical training for people to go get jobs that they need, get the skills that they need to go get jobs. Continuing to talk with MCC, TSTC, and Region 12, and going to partner with civic organizations like this, philanthropy, communities of faith, and others to ensure every Wacoan has a chance to enter the middle class. That's something that I'm very committed to, and it's going to take all of us working hard to achieve that. We're also committed to small business support. We've started giving out small business grants that came out of COVID, and today we've been able to assist approximately 210 very small businesses, and we're going to continue to examine that. We're doing a new economic development study to really make sure that we're approaching economic development holistically in the community. We've knocked it out of the park on distribution, manufacturing, and industrial, and that's important, and we're going to continue to do that. But we want to make sure that we're supporting small business right, that we're recruiting executive jobs into our community, and that we're looking at everything with an equitable lens. So I'm really excited about where we're headed and the strategy that we'll continue to implement as a result of this study. Economic development success that we've experienced is not by accident. As I mentioned, it's the fruit of people that have come before me and the people that are at the table now doing hard work. As I mentioned earlier, Waco was the first metro area in Texas and 15th in the nation to recover all jobs lost due to the pandemic. I think that is worth celebrating, and I want us to know that we are headed in a positive direction, and we're going to keep going there. Downtown Waco is a passion of mine, and I want to be clear about something. Every part of the city, every corner of this city, deserves and requires thoughtfulness, vision, and a lot of work. But every study I've read shows that for an economy to be successful, you got to have a strong downtown. And so I'm really proud of the work that we've done to achieve that. Our riverfront project is one that's exciting right out that window, and we expect phase 1 of that, including where our downtown farmers market will return to be complete in early 2022. Bridge Street Plaza right over there. If you go down Elm, just a couple blocks, you'll see it. It's a $6 million capital investment that's really cool and honors the history and legacy there. It's a little pocket park with a pavilion, and I really encourage you all to go check it out. Magnolia is committed to moving their HQ into downtown in the old Trib building, a 100,000 square foot building. As that staff became smaller, this is a really great opportunity because they're going to bring hundreds and hundreds of employees with disposable income into downtown. And we need jobs in downtown that are going to fuel that downtown economy. Something I'm really excited about and has been on my heart for a while is what we call TIF number 4, but it's basically a new TIF zone with a lot of the commercial corridors and commercial districts in the core of the city that aren't in our current TIF zone. This isn't a new tax on a property, but what it is we take a portion of the tax that we collect and ensure that it gets reinvested in capital improvements in that geographic district. And it's a great way to ensure and preserve the longevity of these parts of the city. You can check out that TIF map on our City of Waco website. This new TIF zone is going to include corridors like LaSalle, the 25th and 26th Street corridor, 17th, 18th, 19th Street corridor, parts of East Waco and other areas that are currently not covered by the current TIF zone. I'm really pleased that we'll be moving forward with that. And last, Floyd Casey is set to be developed at the beginning of 2022 as well. It's about 100 acres of developable land. We've entered into an agreement with Turner Behringer, and we'll be developing that as a stable residential neighborhood. And I look forward to seeing that move forward as well. Next, airports. We know that to have a strong economy and a good quality of life, we've got to have a good airport. And we got about $18 million of CARES funding that we've put into action there. We have put a lot of that into infrastructure, like the runway, but we're also going to be renovating our terminal. I'm really excited about that getting a facelift. We're also have applied for and will continue to apply for grants to get new carriers into Waco. So we're really looking ahead on how to make sure this airport is incredibly successful and people can get it in and out of Waco easily. A lot of parks updates for you this year. Trailblazer Park is an 18-acre park with a pavilion and a shaded playground. The trailhead of the Cotton Belt Park. Suspension Bridge, we're rehabbing this. It's going to be done in the spring of 2022. We're almost there, but it needed critical repairs, and it's one of our most historic features, so I'm excited for that. Lions Park, I know this group is probably excited about that because y'all used to meet nearby there. But this summer, the City of Waco partnered with the Lions Park Trust Board and several other community partners to reimagine and revitalize this community park. The city's committed $2 million of the $2 million for the planning of this. You can engage in this. You can go to the city website to find how you can get involved in the conversation on revitalizing the Lions Park. But I think this is going to be something that the whole city is ready to get behind. And I think we should anticipate a first-rate park, something that looks like the Disney World of Waco when we're all done. China Spring Park, if you're out in China Spring, we have committed dollars to purchase and design a park in China Spring. Our goal is to begin construction in 2023 for that. It's something we take really serious. Cotton Palace Park is one of Waco's oldest and most historic parks, and we've begun a reimagining process for that and held our first community meeting just last week, or maybe it was the week before that. But we're going to continue to seek public input on how to reimagine and re-envision Cotton Palace Park in the core of the city. Last but not least, we recently purchased the Doris Miller YMCA on the Paul Quinn campus and anticipate that becoming a community recreation center. Solid Waste Services. Some people wouldn't say this is the sexiest part of city business, but man, is it important. And I'm just going to give 2 notes on this. One is there's a curbside services app. So if you have a smartphone, I highly recommend you downloading the Waco Curbside Services app for direct service alerts, scheduling reminders, and information about recycling and diversion opportunities on there. The second thing I want to talk about is our landfill. We have recently passed a major milestone in having received a technical completion notice from TCEQ and are on track to have that complete by our quickly approaching deadline of 2025 when we'll run out of space at our current landfill. Quality of life, I want to talk about just a couple things. We put a lot of energy behind building our neighborhood associations. If you live in the city of Waco, then you have access to a neighborhood association. Some of them are dormant, but we have tools and a toolkit that you can utilize to rebound that neighborhood association if you want to. If you have one that needs some new life, I'd encourage you to jump in and get involved. And we have several that are very active. And if you're not involved in one of your neighborhood associations that is active, I'd encourage you to jump in. It's a great way to really shape the direction of the neighborhood in a way you want it to be shaped. We've implemented a neighborhood grant program that allows neighbors to take out a grant from the city for a special project, like a parade or a block party or some capital improvements. One neighborhood association put in park benches in a neighborhood park. So it's a real great way to really, for us to have a low ear to the ground on what the needs are and for you to really shape what you want for your neighborhood. And last, on the quality of life component, race equity continues to be a priority for our city. A few years back, we did some homework and saw a significant disparity of outcomes in this regard. And since that time, we've worked diligently. A couple of updates on that is we plan to be hiring a race equity officer, hopefully soon, and are currently conducting a disparity study, which will outline efforts and strategies that we can undertake to ensure equitable decisions are made on city contracts and procurement. So we'll continue to do the good work there. Public safety is a priority for our councils. Waco will be a safe city, and we remain committed to this goal. I'm very proud. We have 5 new positions in our fire department with Chief Summers, and I'm really proud because at the end of last week that we learned that we did receive a grant that Chief Victorian led us out on to get 12 new police officers to our police force. And as she so well said, a growing city needs a growing police force. With Chief Victorian's leadership, we're also implementing a relational policing program, which she calls what other communities have called community policing, and has really injected a culture or carried on a culture in our police force whereby there is reciprocal trust between the public and our police department. And I'm really thankful for our fire department and our police department for their good, strategic, thoughtful work. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is the Texas Anti-Gang Center. It's a grant we received from the governor that pulls together a lot of law enforcement officers. I think I see our district attorney here. He said he plays a role in that as well. And we've worked really hard, and it's resulted in 115 gang members being arrested for felony offenses and the filing of 306 felony cases. And I'm really thankful for this collaboration between multiple partners. We have a lot of initiatives looking forward, and I'll wrap this up here because I know we're about to be out of time. I'm going long, so I don't have to field hard questions. We're almost done, but a couple of things that we're doing is we're about to wrap up a housing study. We had a meeting last week with Waco Foundation, the Waco Housing Authority, and Susie at Prosper Waco to really make sure that we are being strategic and proactive about how we address what has really become a significant housing shortage here in Waco. And that impacts all families, middle class and low-income families. And we're going to continue to have a lot of work done around that subject. We're doing a homelessness plan is underway as well. Expect completion on that in the coming months. Our Parks and Rec department is doing a recreation strategic plan to help develop a framework to really build out and continue to care for our park system in the coming years. We just wrapped up a strategic communications audit, and we'll soon be reporting and making recommendations coming soon. And we set aside $225,000 to really look at how we brand and market the city of Waco strategically, to our own residents, to people that are considering moving here, to tourists that might be coming and businesses relocating here. So I'm really excited for all of these things that are in the future and in the queue. I want to thank Dory Helm and Ashley Nystrom on their work on helping me with this beautiful PowerPoint that you see here. And just to finish up, guys, I believe with all my heart that Waco has a greater opportunity than any city in the country. A greater opportunity to build, like I mentioned, up financial security for those who have not had it, for us to jump in and shape the culture of the city in a way that we want to shape it, and to continue to improve quality of life in this town. I think that in a world that seems like it's gone crazy sometimes, Waco is this bastion of hope because of good people who might see things differently coming together and moving the ball forward in a positive way. And the culture here is what makes this city what it is and what it will be. And I'm so thankful for each of you and your commitment to this community. You wouldn't be in this room if you didn't have a heart for it. And so I invite you to continue to give to the city in the way that you've done so well. So that's all I have. And do we take questions here? We do take questions. Okay. That's great. Yeah, I love some questions. Anybody? Yes, sir.
Dillon, you're among friends here today, therefore I know that you'll be glad to tell us where the new basketball pavilion
Yep.
is.
We have my city attorney in the room, and that's making me sweat. What I've said before and said publicly is that there's nothing to report officially on that, but the city would love to continue to partner with Baylor to make sure that it's located in a place that is going to secure growth in our downtown economy. But we have not. We are far from an official announcement on that. Although I hope sometime soon we will have one. I wasn't looking at her on purpose. I'm afraid I was going to get it dark. Yes, sir.
Like said, you wanted Costco and Trader Joe's.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what. We on the Trader Joe's issue, we have ninja'd that I think as far as we can for a while. But as I don't know if anybody's from East Texas or the Tyler area, but Brookshire's has a grocery store there. The Brookshire Company has a high-end Trader Joe's Central Market-like grocery store called Fresh, and because the Tyler Market, it's worked in Tyler. Because that has worked out well, we've reached out to them. I think that shows some ingenuity on behalf of our city staff. Pounded the pavement on Trader Joe's, really kept hitting some brick walls. And so where can we pivot to achieve that goal with another brand? We don't have an announcement, and probably won't anytime soon, but we are in discussions with them on what it would look like for them to open up a location in Waco, and are also in discussions with some local developers with Costco, and those both continue to be have some fruitful conversations around that. It's the one way if I don't get a grocery store of that caliber in Waco, I could have solved poverty in Waco, and my wife would be saying, I don't know, I think you might be a failure. So we're working on it. What else? Yes, sir.
I think I read that our vaccination rate is not where we'd like it to be, and that's mostly individual decision, I understand. Is there anything the city can do to encourage that?
Man, if you have a set of answers for that, I will be the first to take them. I'm really proud of the work that our city did. And that's, a robust communication strategy. We pulled, a couple of the things that I've done that I'm really thankful for is our mobile vaccination clinic, which is we will go to you. If we did a Souls to the Shots Days with a series of churches and went to churches. I think Rotary itself had a vaccine van parked in the parking lot for one of y'all's meetings, and had done that throughout the town to employers and civic clubs and communities of faith. We did a series of press conferences where we brought together community members with different perspectives, members of the leaders in the Hispanic community and African American community, as well as individuals like Dr. Brad Holland, who is the chairman of the Republican Club, but a doctor, and gave his medical expertise as to why the vaccine is safe and Americans should procure them. A personal friend of mine from Corsicana, a nearby town, a pastor who nearly lost his life to COVID late this summer because he was unvaccinated, came on one of our press conferences and discussed it as well, why he believed of the importance of talking to your doctor about getting vaccinated. And we distributed those videos in every form of media that we could. So we've really worked proactively and strategically to meet people where they are with people they trust, to encourage them to go talk to their trusted doctor like they do on all other medical issues. And at this point, I don't know, to be honest, I don't know what else we can do because we've really tried to do everything we can. But if anybody's got feedback on that, shoot me an email and we'll see what we can do. Yes, sir.
Are there any favorable economics to recycling program?
Yes, we have a recycling center here in Waco, and we do offer recycling in the community. Right now, I don't think that there is any sort of incentive package available to anyone to recycle, but we offer it to our community and have a really robust campaign that promotes recycling. From a sustainability perspective, we have a fairly new, it's a couple years old now, commission in the same vein of a Parks and Rec commission or a planning commission, appointed by the City Council of community members to help advise city practices on environmental sustainability, and they've been really critical in us implementing, both in our city procurement and city operations, in the community at large, of implementing ambitious goals that are still rooted in pragmatism, and I'm really thankful for the advice that citizen advisory committee gives to our community. Yes, sir.
Where's the citizens collection station going to move after everything, after it's moved from where it is?
I don't know that off the top of my head, K. Paul, but I'll get back to you on that. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
At one time, the water dam was a major issue for the city. The one that we have now seems to be functioning very well, and is in good shape.
It needs a little bit of work, and we're continuing to evaluate some of the work that's been done, and it needs to be done on that. But it is something that our engineering department and our public works department is continuing to evaluate the future of that project. But it hasn't had any major problems recently. Any other questions? Guys ready to go? Guys, thanks so much. It's such an honor to be here today. Thankful for you guys. If you do have any questions and you didn't ask today, shoot me an email. My email address is on the City of Waco website. And this microphone's signaling it's time for me to shut up. Email me anytime. So thanks.
Well, Dillon, thank you. It really is an exciting time. Dillon, thank you for your service. We really do appreciate it. I also want to welcome MCC students. Our next meeting is going to be December 13th, and it's the University High Shore Choir. We'll be here December 13th. That's our next meeting. And we will now stand for a four-way test of things we think say. Is it the truth? Is it fair law, sir? Will be beneficial to all, sir. Praise